Welcome to this week's Movie Math, where it seems Furious 7 hit the nos at the starting line and performed like the muscle car this franchise has clearly become. It surged out of the gate with over $140 million, the 9th biggest opening of all time domestically. The highest a Fast and Furious movie had ranked before now was Fast 6 at number 32. But oh no, this wasn't just a USA party, this was a global party, making an awfully good argument for why movies should be released day and date worldwide. Indeed, I asked you to send me pictures of yourself with your Furious 7 movie tickets, and I got them from BTT viewers around the world. That made for a global debut of $384 million, which means in a single weekend, Furious 7 became the third most successful film of the year to date, coming in behind only Cinderella and 50 Shades of Grey, also from Universal. Even more so, this is the fourth biggest worldwide debut of all time, and the biggest in Universal history. Which means while Vin Diesel and the Minions might be follically challenged, financially they rule the studio. What's more, while Captain America the Winter Soldier had to fend off Rio 2 and The Other Woman last year, there's not a single real competitor lined up for the rest of the entire month. That gives Furious 7 a lot of open road to travel at the box office until Avengers Age of Ultron hits theaters May 1st. And Avengers 2 is not a day-and-date release. It opens in many countries a week earlier, so it could be hard for it to break the record set here by Dom and his crew. Yet another argument for those day-and-date releases. It's also worth noting that while Furious 7 opened in 63 territories this weekend, it still has China, Japan, and Russia to go. Those are, as we've come to know, very box office rich veins, meaning Furious 7 has also saved up some nos for later. Now, last week I noted that it was difficult for any movie to crack the century mark its opening weekend last year, with only Transformers Age of Extinction and The Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 1 succeeding. This year, though, we've already got our first $100 million plus opener, and Avengers 2 will surely be another. Which other films do you predict will crack the century mark this year, opening weekend? I predict Jurassic World, Minions, also both Universal films by the way, Mockingjay Part 2, Star Wars The Force Awakens, and maybe Spectre. Even without Spectre, that would make for 6 $100 million plus debuts, which would be the most ever in a single year. To date, the record is 2010 with 4, Iron Man 2, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1, Alice in Wonderland, and Toy Story 3. Come on, 2015, live up to the hype. We'll keep tabs on this. Now, some haters might say the only reason Furious 7 overperformed was because of Paul Walker's death. And to be fair, a number of people, even here on BTT, honestly admitted that they were trying out this franchise for the first time out of curiosity and respect for Walker. However, what also needs to be discussed is that Furious 7 also just happens to be a great movie, which delivers on many levels, not just in its homage to Paul, which, by the way, it handles perfectly. So hopefully the franchise will be able to hold on to all these new viewers, or at least a high percentage of them, for the inevitable Fast and Furious 8. And please, if this was your first Fast and Furious movie, share your thoughts down below, and whether or not you plan on coming back or are at least open to the idea of coming back for the next film. And as for longtime Fast and Furious viewers, what was the special ingredient here? I wager it's James Wan. Go James! As for the rest of the box office, the other movies playing this weekend all got flat tires chasing after Vin Diesel. The smallest drops were Cinderella, It Follows, and Do You Believe, while the rest were Hit Hard, none more so than Get Hard, which fell over 60% in just its second weekend. And for those of you concerned about the future of Dreamworks Animation, Home's second weekend drop was a tad high, but not a disaster either. The film is about to pass the century mark domestically and worldwide is approaching $150 million. But when you have a budget of $135 million, you need to at least double that to break even. And again, that doesn't cover advertising. Home will need to top $500 million worldwide for Dreamworks Animation to be considered back in business, or at the very least come close to $500 million. All those fan-favorite Dreamworks Animation movies that never got sequels, they never made it out of the 300s. Now, I'm sure you noticed that sitting at number 7 is Woman in Gold, a limited release playing in just a little over 250 theaters. A solid per-theater average and a huge drop-off after 5th place in the overall top 10 have allowed the Weinstein film to make a nice little debut, much needed after a slew of poor reviews. That's a welcome headline for Ryan Reynolds as well as Helen Mirren. She might have pitched herself in jest for Fast and Furious 8 early last week, but that idea is looking better and better every day. As for this coming weekend, Furious 7 will surely have another winning lap, as the longest ride is expected to open with just $13 million, low for a Nicholas Sparks movie. Thank goodness Scott Eastwood has already landed the role of Steve Trevor in Suicide Squad. And that's the weekend box office. I'm Grace Randolph, and we just did some movie math. As always, thanks for watching. And I hope we'll go beyond the trailer for these other top movies.